경기장 도시형.
All right, so here we go, guys. It's game number 3 between Evil Geniuses and OGS. OGS up 2-0 on the back of Illusion, but this is Evil Geniuses PuMa spawning as our red Terran here at the 12 o'clock position on Terminus. At the 9 o'clock position is his opponent, still sporting that next ice cream tag because they are on the Korean server. That is oGs.Illusion.
Yep. So the TVT, not cross positions. These guys are relatively close by air. Zanex Ice Cream, formerly now oGs.Illusion, could have a slightly easier time going after the third base of PuMa if it does happen.
Right.
Whereas PuMa can have a little bit of easier time harassing the main, possibly. You do see Banshees a lot on this map. PuMa does like his Banshees.
Yeah, certainly.
So
we'll see
he
what
may decide to go that way.
Yeah, I agree with you, and there's also a possibility that we're going to see some quick expansion builds and a nice long macro TVT as well, so that could be fun to watch as well. Of course, our first game was kind of crazy between DeMuslim and Illusion when we had that drop base trade style TVT.
Yep. Man, EG.PuMa really needs to win this game, too. I mean, if they go down 3 games to OGS, it's going to be insanely difficult for them to come back.
Right.
Yep.
And they still have players like Hawk and JYP on the sidelines and things like that. So there's some very good players left. But you're right. If Illusion is able to make it through players like DeMuslim and Idra and PuMa right away, that's going to be a very uphill road to try and come back up against.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, I mean, OGS has such a strong lineup, and I mean, this is pretty typical team league for a Korean team to do. You know, first you send out a newer player, try to give him a little bit of experience, give him a little bit of kind of time in the hot seat, if you will, as far as getting some wins for his team, and so far Illusion has done a pretty good job.
He really has, and we're going to see if he moves into that very TVZ style build once again. If you remember, back in that first TVT he played, opened with a Reactor Hellion Expand, and this go round he still did continue to mine gas, whereas we know his opponent PuMa is putting down a Tech Lab.
Yep, that's right. So could just be a Reaper expand from PuMa. And this is a pretty good map for Reapers. Yep, there's the first Reaper there. You can get in there, do a little bit of damage maybe if you're lucky, but more importantly, do a lot of scouting and continue to scout really too.
Yeah.
Yep. Although when it comes to, you know, a minute or two later in the game, the places where a Reaper can jump up can be fairly easily defended. And yeah, it looks like he is probably going to go for Banshees there, kind of hiding the factory a little bit out of place. That certainly would indicate Banshees. And in the meantime, PuMa, yeah, just saving up for that expansion. There's the command center right there. As
you called it, as Doa mentioned, and we especially see second gas coming down with no expansion as the middle of the factory is being built. So
yeah, almost definitely going to be Cloak Banshees.
And of course, that factory is positioned as close as possible to PuMa's third, so that when the starport gets built right after this factory, probably from this SCV, although he has rallied back to the minerals at the moment, that starport is going to have the quickest possible build time to get units into PuMa space.
Yep. You know, it's kind of funny when you're playing TVT. Nearly always you have to prepare for Banshees. I mean, just the possibility of them. When you're designing openings, things like that, you always have to be aware of the possibility of Cloak Banshees and know that your build will survive that at that certain timing. Now, of course, there are builds here and there that that don't do that. Oh, the Reaper just barely gets in there.
Yes,
he will be able to scout and see both of those gas and the factory and starport. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that's a huge win right there. That Reaper has just paid for itself in spades. Even takes out an SCV as well, but PuMa just getting perfect information about his opponent.
Yeah. Now, PuMa was already preparing pretty well for things like Banshees. He's getting the combat shield upgrade pretty quickly. He's making a lot of Marines right now, as many as he can, really. So even though they won't have stim, they'll still be able to survive a little bit longer against the Banshees. They won't get two-shot like they normally would. So that's quite good, of course.
And that Cloaked Banshee is going to come up quite a while from now. We'll see if it switches this up. No, there's Banshee number 1. We'll see if he saves up at 200 gas and decides to get Cloak right away, if he's just going to go with just Banshees.
Yeah, you know, a lot of Terrans decide to get Cloak before their first Banshee. It's tough to time it out where you have enough for Banshee and Cloak.
Right.
But he's actually going to go for Siege Tank. Okay.
Interesting.
Cool. All right.
And an expansion.
Yep, may cause PuMa to save some energy for scans that he could be using on mules otherwise, but other than that, shouldn't really hurt PuMa too much. And it's probably just going to be 1, maybe 2 Banshees as well, just putting on a little bit of light pressure as he kind of goes up to Marine Tank
Now, you know, PuMa hasn't saved any energy yet, so this
Oh,
is...
okay.
I think that this is, you know, under most circumstances, they would have saved for Cloak Banshees, but I think this is smart from PuMa. He assumes that he got a full scout, and that's going to prevent Cloak from coming out, maybe, so...
That's quite possible.
And let's see here as the Banshee skirts away from that bunker up at the front. And PuMa now bringing back his Marines, and he's got to get those SCVs away right away. He'll have a missile turret up in just a second. Marines actually trapping that Banshee in now, and the Banshee not going to do too much damage before it's driven away.
Yep, and a little bit trapped there.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Poor Banshee.
Yeah, that Banshee cannot escape until the Marines move away, and of course they will. They're not going to stay there all game, but right now PuMa kind of has it pinned in there.
Yes, he does, as a matter of fact. And he's just on 3 racks right now. Tons of upgrades, tons of Marines coming up at the moment, but no factory and therefore no starport as well. Looks like this Banshee tries to get back in. Does not nab another kill, loses a little bit more health. Back on Illusion's side, though, it's a pretty big push. He's got a couple of tanks with siege mode. He's got Vikings in the air. He's got his orbital command, which is just being used as a macro CC right now.
Well, this is... Okay, so he does get the Banshee away, but this is interesting. This is something that we've actually been seeing Nada do in TVP lately. Another OGS player, but going for Marine tank Banshee and not getting stim, because then if you don't need your Marines to be healed, you can use the air for Banshees instead of medevacs. So kind of an interesting philosophy. We've seen other OGS Terrans play around with it. Oh, that one's not going to get killed.
He just barely
like
gets away.
Nice save, huh? Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, it's so non-committal, this guy.
That's right.
Uh-oh, PuMa may have caught his opponent a little bit out of position. Their one's tank is sieged up, but the other one goes
nice
down right
flank,
away. The Banshee actually going to die as well, and all of a sudden a big advantage now for PuMa.
Yeah, that last Marine running in, just not quite getting the memo.
Yeah.
Getting lots of bullets instead.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know how I like this in TVT. I mean, Stim is just so strong, as we just saw, that going for a Marine tank Banshee just doesn't seem quite as strong. I mean, Banshees are so fragile against Marines, but interesting idea to try it by Illusion, but he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, that's a pretty strong force coming out. They have already taken some damage from Stim, and there is a siege tank up there, obviously, but he might be able to get in and do a little bit.
He's really got to watch out. That's a lot of Marines sitting there. If he can pick off the tank, maybe worth it, but he's already taken so much damage, and no, all of his Marines are going to go down. He stops the bunker up the front. He kills a few Marines, but lost a little bit in return.
Yeah, it's the trouble of doing that without Stim, is that you can push in like that, but if you have to Stim twice, you know, the Marines become very, very, very fragile.
All right, well, a reactor popping up on this factory. So, we are going to move into the medevac phase here pretty quickly. Apologize, looks like we had a Banshee up here, but just picked off one Marine and kind of backed away. All right, third base now coming up for PuMa. And there's the same thing on the way. No such command structure built for Illusion. PuMa's been managing this game pretty well. You know, for scouting and preparing for Banshees pretty early on, he did let the first Banshee get 7 kills, which was quite a bit. But, as is evidenced by that one going down, he's done a nice job of mitigating the damage from there on out.
Yep, that's right. And you can be sure that he's not going to do any sort of pushes or anything until he has those first couple medevacs. Actually going for that third command center, too, as we saw. Oops, a little bit of a supply block, but he actually, no, he doesn't have any supply depots started, so he is going to be blocked for a little while there.
Does he have any energy at least?
There's a supply depot. Nope, that's pretty bad supply block for PuMa, unfortunately. Back at Illusion's base, let's check out what he is up to. Making some tanks, making some Marines.
Yeah.
Just kind of playing a pretty standard TVT right now. Stim and combat shields getting pretty close to done.
Yeah.
And that's going to time out pretty nicely with those first medevacs as well. Oh, no, he actually canceled that, but he is going to be able to make a nice timing push with this. Now,
the one thing that PuMa really has going for him, though, in addition to that extra base, is his superior upgrades. I mean, he is on 1-1 already, and putting up that armory so he can move into 2-2 here in a second, but he's done a very nice job in just capitalizing on his advantage and continuing to invest in upgrades and infrastructure and bases while maintaining an overall supply advantage.
Yeah, he's going to really have to work hard to outmaneuver his opponent, though, to make that kind of very heavy Marine force work. He is going to be a little bit behind on the tank production. Not terribly far behind, although Illusion already getting his second factory finished here too, so he's really going to have a lot more tanks than PuMa if he decides to keep pumping out factories like that once the second one finishes. And, oh, a little bit of push.
Oh, PuMa stims up, but needs to pull away. Nice job to get out of the range of the siege tanks completely.
Yep.
But it looks like Illusion is going to be able to take control of the Xel'Naga towers and gain himself a foothold in the middle of the map.
Yep, if you can kind of control that area of the map, it makes your third a little bit safer.
Sure.
You can kind of start to expand downwards as well.
Oh, it looks like actually Illusion's going to continue to push his way up. PuMa has about half his troops trapped over on the right-hand side. He can run the long way around if he wants to, and it looks like that's just what he's going to do. But Illusion being pretty aggressive and just taking map control here.
Yeah, we'll have to see how far he decides to push this. He's got to be really careful. I mean, PuMa could get some good positioning here, get in, do some damage. He's going to try a drop as well, as we saw. Does manage to get home, so he should be able to hold up back Illusion's push for a little while at least.
Yeah, and Illusion just continuing to inch his way forward at the moment as he continues to have vision of the Xel'Naga tower. Here's a drop going on, and almost certainly this base is going to go down because Illusion's moving out to the middle of the map and not actually moving back to reinforce, and that is going to kill the command center. Yeah,
he's going to need to cancel that one for sure. And I hope he cancels it. He's going to lose 300 minerals. Wow, just loses 300 minerals. A little bit more to worry about here, though.
Oh, one tank goes down. A second going to fall pretty quickly. Yes, looks like PuMa takes that out as well. Illusion couldn't really advance forward either, so pretty even trade in Marines, but of course PuMa does manage to take out 2 siege tanks as well.
Yep, not getting that third base up, though, is pretty huge for EG.PuMa. He's going to be able to kind of hold Illusion back. That drop is still doing damage down there. This is insane.
Wow.
Illusion just not responding appropriately to this at all. Yeah.
And looks like that finally is going to get cleaned up. But man, oh, an engagement in the middle here as well. No tanks with this. There's less medevacs for PuMa. We're going to see if his, I don't even know if he has upgrade advantage anymore. No, looks like he is going to go down.
A lot of medevacs there healing those Marines.
Yeah.
But the momentum is kind of shifting a little bit here in PuMa's favor. I mean, he's working on a 4th base right now. He's still got his opponent on 2 bases. His upgrades are really good.
Yes.
The one thing he needs to still be careful, though, is that Illusion is producing 2 tanks at once. Now, the nice thing for PuMa is that Illusion's not going to be able to do that forever on 2 bases.
Right.
He really, really needs to get that third up.
And look at this. PuMa's just now finishing up 2-2 along with +1 vehicle weapon, so he's certainly winning the upgrade war as well.
Right, right.
And there's the scan. Looks like PuMa's tank is going to go down here.
He was going to run up that ramp. Oh, man, PuMa.
I hope he doesn't.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, what he did there was move his Marines up just a little bit to soak a siege tank shot to keep his tanks healthy, which is it's an okay trade to make, certainly. Scared me that he was going to try to run up that ramp, though.
PuMa, though, with that 4th base, he is going to pull such an advantage in this game. His is finished. Illusion still hasn't been able to establish his. Looks like PuMa may lose another tank here in the middle.
Yep.
But, you know, he's still establishing map control. And just, I mean, I can't, you know, stress that 4th base enough.
Yep, it's going to be pretty big. PuMa, though, setting up for a bit of a flank. He might decide to just go around the outside, too, and try to take out the 3rd here. I'll have to see.
See if he'll do just that. Really has to watch out for these siege tanks sitting here on the high ground, though.
Oh, nice. Just taking away the Xel'Naga tower vision for just a second. Oh, as he loads up 2 medevacs. Oh, man, if I were Illusion, I don't know if I would notice 2 medevacs suddenly missing from that. That's
exactly
smart. Oh, but this drop is doing some damage.
Yes, it is. PuMa coming in with a few units now, but he's got to watch out, make sure this orbital command doesn't go down. Looks like he has enough now. He will be able to defend, but here comes that drop back, and if Illusion loses this base again, it would be devastating.
Yep. And I don't know, man. I mean, that drop, he's got a couple medevacs.
He's moving in with a lot. You are right, but oh my god, it looks like these siege tanks are just going to be fodder for these Marines. A few Marines left. 1 tank has gone down already. A second may fall as well, and this drop has done so much damage.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, he's really, really starting to get a huge momentum shift now. I mean, he was a little bit ahead now, but now 50 supply.
Yeah.
Really hindering that 3rd base. His upgrades, again, are just looking great.
You know, Illusion has still kept pretty even on tanks and really attack units at this point, but because that base was just denied so often. Oh, look at this, dropping down on top of the siege tanks as well.
Nice.
Soaked up a lot of damage and allowed him to move in with the rest of his units, crushing Illusion's forces in the middle. That was a beautiful move.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the move that PuMa needed to just seal the deal here. I mean, wow, more than anything, PuMa just really, really outplaying Illusion. GG, that is it.
Wow, very well played.
PuMa, wow, he crushed him, man. I mean, he annihilated Illusion.